Hello. Cathar Love 117. The mystical, the magical, the mysterious, the occult. When it comes to philosophy or religion, when people offer those particular words, that term, one thinks if one's a Christian or some other belief systems, we're getting into demonology. But far from it. But I would like to stress that though Catharism, Gnostic Catharism, is not into rituals, churches, prayers, rules and regulations, all the normal trappings of most belief systems. The opposite. We want you to think for yourself. You work out for yourself what is best for you. Listen to what people say, but take note, evaluate it, contemplate, think about it, and make your own decision. As Henri de Boers in the Cathar Codex and Dialogue says, don't be trapped by beliefs. I'm certainly pleased I wasn't trapped by my beliefs when I was young, because I've changed my belief systems probably about 3 times. Major beliefs, major changes in my belief systems over the years. And that's just to do with more knowledge, more life experience, things that happened. But the things that have changed me, and which changed a lot of people, is things that are mystical, magical, mysterious. Last week there was a guy, he's a well-known Australian mystic, psychic medium, sees the dead. He did ever since he was a kid, and he just became stronger and stronger as he got older, and he had this show, and he answered various people's questions, and of course these are people who were questions about their family, people that had died, and he just tapped into that, and he just answered these people's questions and about what happened to the people, and also there was a certain amount of questioning on both sides, and he gave answers, and he was just 100% correct on how the people died and what happened to them and the family and the various things that get on. So any reasonable people would say, yes, the guy is obviously tapping into the mystical, into the he's a psychic medium, he's tapping into the spirits. I had my Susie, which I saw 6 times over about 12 or 14 years, and my mother and father were always there, beginning to the end. But the last session I had, and I didn't know at the time it was going to be the last session, and that was about 5 years ago, and my mother and father were there. But on this occasion, and also Henri de Boers, who he's written it's his dialogues, that the Cathar Dialogues and the Cathar Codex, those books, it's his information, an educated Cathar Perfecti who talks, and Henri was there, and but he's been there a number of occasions. But on this occasion, Susie stumbled over. She couldn't quite get Gulabert de Castri. He was the head bishop or of the Cathars at the time, and he was succeeded by Bertrand Marty, and opposites in many ways. Gulabert de Castri was, as Susie said, oh, he looks like Friar Tuck. He's really happy, a very cheery person, very, very kind, and everybody loved him, and a very good speaker and orator. which was true. But she's seeing him. She said, "Oh, Bertram Marty." She said, "Oh, he's tall and slim and very, very serious person, and it's spot on." But they were all there on that occasion. So my guide Brader, my mother and my father, my guide Brader, Henri de Boers, Gulliver de Castro, and Bertram Marty, but Susie put it to them. She said, you expect John to do this and do that and various things that they're talking about. And she said, he's not a young man. Well, thank you, Susie. I'm getting on, but still young in the head, I hope. And they said this was all thought out ever before he was born. So, nice to know. And for one reason or another, I never saw Susie after that. It's down to earth, and yet, when one's talking to the dead, be they dead Cathars or anyone else, this is very much a mystical experience. And the wonderful thing that people who go to see these spirit mediums, I have another one that I go to, Barbara, and she is a lovely lady. And my father's been there, and Henri de Boers has been there. They're the only two from the spirit world who've been there when I've seen her on a few occasions that I've seen her. But I've had other people go to her and to Susie, and no one, at no time is anyone suffering on the world of spirit. At no time are there flames anywhere near anybody, and they're talking just the same and talking about things exactly the same as just they were when they were alive. Now my mother, who knows? I mean, there weren't even computers around when she was alive. And yet she said, "John, get a new computer, otherwise this one's going to crash." My God, it's coming from my mother. She said another time, "Yeah, you'll have to do something about your neck, because if you don't, it's going to get worse." Well, my neck's great, and I have had massages and had a look too, and it's fine. In fact, I don't even think about it. Another time she said to me, my mother, this is mother giving me a message, and this shows you it's not gobbledygook and something within my imagination. She said, "Be careful about getting into a silver hatchback." There was no hatchbacks when she was alive. With the license plate SKS, I can remember that, 694 or 604, something like that. I can't remember exactly what that was. Now, the point was, and I totally forgot about it, but a year later, after this particular message, my girlfriend at the time, Sandy, she was a Vietnamese Chinese, and she had this massive accident. She was at a bend, had stopped at a bend, a place called Newtown, and there was cars in front of her, and this car whipped around the corner and slammed into her and literally put her vertebrae into her neck, and another few millimetres and she would have been dead. But anyway, luckily she had an operation, and ultimately she came good. Some months after this accident, I'm looking at her car, which happened to be a silver hatchback, Toyota RAV hatchback. And I'm looking and I go, SKS 604. This is the license plate my mother told me about, to be very careful and about getting into this vehicle. So this is it's mystical, it's magical, it's occult, but it's down to earth. The Cathars disappeared a millennium ago, 1,000 years ago. The last perfecti to be burnt in the south of France was in 1243, Guillaume Balabast, and he said the Cathar The laurel will again go green in 700 years. In 700 years the laurel Cathars will return, which is happening. But the nation of France at the time, in conjunction with the Pope, they invaded Languedoc, Occitania, at the behest of Pope Innocent III, and they were out to completely destroy anything and everything to do with the Cathars and just obliterate every last one of them, because they were such a threat to the church. And the church at that time was, so they brought in the social revolution, and it was really changing the whole people's ways of looking at things, because prior to that they only had the church, and the church was totally in control, and suddenly here these people turning up on the doorstep and giving women social equality and saying, no, don't worry about marriage, don't worry about having children, don't worry about baptism, what are you worshipping the cross? If your father had been killed with a dagger, would you worship the dagger? If your father had been hung with a rope, would you worship the rope? What are you worshipping a cross for? So they came in with all this stuff, and people loved it, and they were effective, and they said, no, that's fine, sex is fine, there's nothing unnatural about the body, if there's anything unnatural, it's to do with the mind, so what are you punishing your body for? The body is always innocent. So they came in with this down-to-earth philosophy. They said, look, the only thing that matters is your relationship with the person you're involved with, male, female, not just that, respect animals, trees, birds, everything. So it's your relationship with the environment which also mattered. So it was a great, it was an amazing social revolution. But they weren't into writing, because history and facts and all the things that went on and belief systems and doctrines, to the Cathars, they were all illusions. It's how you got on with yourself, your relationships with other people, ultimately living a good life that you'll cut back your reincarnations to a minimum, preferably none for a lot of people, and return to the source. So they were trying to fast track their spiritual growth. That's all gone. Now the only way we can gain further information, it might be the odd archive that turns up somewhere in Europe, but it's through the occult. It is through people like Susie. I took her some photographs once, and she told me the first time, she said, when the people were herded into this palisade at Montsegur to be burnt to death, she said they just herded them in, and they pushed them into the flames, and it was open and it was burning, and people walked in. And then she said, John, she said, nobody screamed. They just surrendered themselves to the flames, but no one was screaming. But she said, and I never knew this, but there were 3 children. 3 kids were also thrown into the flames. Now another time when I went to see Susie, and I'm showing her some photographs of people I thought who may be reincarnated Cathars, and she said, that woman there, now this is years later, so she wouldn't remember the first episode, but she said, that woman there, that's the woman whose children were thrown into the flames at Montsegur. Anyway, we have a book, it was Cathars and Reincarnation, I've mentioned it before, by Dr. Arthur Gurdam, and he had this, there was this group reincarnation in the south of England. It's happening all over the world at present. There was my friend Jim, who was William de Mirepoix, and he had these dialogues over a 7-year period with only the Boers. It's called the Cathar Dialogues on Amazon. The Cathar Dialogues on Amazon. And it's followed by the Cathar Codex. I don't go out to market these particular books for that particular reason, and because at the moment I'm not out to make a lot of money, because the amount of money I have at the moment, if I've got more coming in, that money is taken away from me because of the situation I have. So, but the point I'm trying to make is that those 7 years of conversations with Henri de Boers in the Cathar dialogues is probably the greatest insight into what an educated Cathar perfecti thought. And you can read it and read it and read it again, and each time you do read, you're getting more information. So we got this within the Cathar philosophy. We not only we welcome mysticism, the mysterious, the occult, and in its own way, this is a very magical thing. But it's the only way these days that we can learn more about what really went on with the Cathars, because there was so little left behind. And what it was left behind, in which most historians who write about the Cathars, they invariably go to the inquisitorial records in Toulouse and Paris, and they read the record of what the Cathars, the people who were caught by the Inquisitors, the Inquisition, what they had to say. So it was written down. But when people are being tortured, when they know they're going to be tortured, how much of this is true and how much of it isn't true, we will never know. So the only conduit that, from a Cathar point of view, but anybody's point of view, to what actually happens on the world of spirit, is through psychic mediums, people who actually, one way or another, can contact and get through this veil and plug in. I remember Susie saying to me, "John, I wish I could tell you how to plug in and connect with the other side." She said, "But I can do it, and it's not hard, but I don't know how to tell you. I don't know how to tell you how to do it." But there are more and more people now, all over the Western world. I mean, there's plenty of charlatans, and there's plenty of people who really will take your money, but you're not going to get too much out of it. But there are genuine people, and the message is, and at no time is there a malevolent message, a message where you go, "Oh my God, you know, if I do that, you're going to be punished." There's no judgment, there's no punishment. There are people on the other side talking to us, and they're saying, "We're fine, we're home, you know, don't worry about us. You're the ones you're the one who's got the problem, you're the one who's got the worries. We're home, we're with our family here." I was at a funeral yesterday, a friend of ours, neighbours at one time, Con, and hadn't seen him for a few years, but they were the most wonderful neighbours. Con and his wife Ruth, and their two girls, Helen and Jeanette, and it was just great to see them. And it was a Greek Orthodox funeral. I've been to a few Russian Orthodox, but this was the first Greek Orthodox, and it was wonderful. And you know, when you see people there, and you see people of faith and people who are very, very caught up in the Greek Orthodox religion, or you go to some other service and you see whether it's Christian, Catholic or Jewish or whatever, you know, these people are really totally caught up in it. Now I'm not. This is people's belief system, and that's fine, and it's wonderful that they have it. We're a different kettle of fish. Now we don't need any intermediaries. Gnosticism, Catharism, is it's you. You're in charge of your mind, body and soul. You're responsible. You work it out, and just through and be prepared to work it out and change your mind and learn and think and go through life experience. But the mystical, the mysterious, the occult is a very necessary thing for Catharism, because it's the only way we're going to be able to tap in, the only way that I know of, that we can tap into what actually happened. Now the other way is that there are people, because sometimes these people contact me, listen to one of my videos, and they contact me and they say, I've got this very strong connection with the Cathars, and some have had past lives experiences. All this but also helps contribute to what we know about the Cathars, because we're not going to get any more. I mean, there's been book after book after book, all gleaned from historical records and so forth. So there's each new book that comes out, it's pretty much to rehash, sometimes in a very, very, in a well-written way, but it's still a rehash of history. Whereas what people really want to know is what the Cathars, how their faith was so strong and that they could walk into the flames and just surrender themselves to the flames and not scream. And this happened over and over and over again. I mean, and this is written by the Crusaders, by the Inquisition, the enemy. So it's not some figment of the imagination. But I just at that funeral, and the night before on the boob tube, the television, there was a thing about Scientology, and then there was another thing on same night on about the Mormons and the ones who breakaway groups and with their 10 wives, 12 wives and dozens of kids. And then again at this funeral, and they're just normal, average, regular human beings. And yet, whether it's psychology, Scientology, or some fundamentalist Christian thing, or whatever, we have these crazy ISIS people brainwashed. But this is all brainwashing in its own way. I suppose the good thing to me about, and the healthy thing about Gnostic Catharism, is the fact it's to try and help people get away from listening to somebody else, or listen to people, but contemplate on what they say, think about what they say, and say, this is baloney. Well, one guy there said if he'd have known when he first started Scientology about Xenu and all the Thetans and the B-52 bombers that dropped the hydrogen bombs into all the volcanoes and blew millions of people up, and these Thetans are floating around now, and be careful because they can get into you. If he'd have known that from day one in Scientology, he wouldn't have joined. But it was only after years of being in there, already being indoctrinated, that he was fed this information and took it on board. And then you've got the other program was little kids, and the girls, by the time they finish primary school, that's it for school, because what's the point of going to school, because you're going to get married and have more children and so forth. All these people are being indoctrinated, told what to do, and it doesn't really matter which particular group, they all seem to do it. So to me, the Gnostic Catharism it's a pathway where you can indoctrinate yourself about yourself, work out life for yourself, think about it, come to conclusions, change your mind, because the only sin in Catharism is the sin of ignorance, the sin of lack of knowledge. Now, knowledge, you can read something in a book, but ultimately it's something that you need to experience for yourself. I think, in this respect, Catharism is a very, very healthy way to live one's life, not have the system and the doctrines send you into depression. Live a full life, but at the same time a very spiritual life. And if one does get into it, one will, one way or another, be involved with your guides, the world of spirit. You are going to be involved with the mystical, the mysterious, the magical, and the occult. And it's all to the good. Bye for now. Talk soon.